apart, we'll be ready to start. Prepping for the unknown, survival in our heart. Join us on a journey, through darkness we'll bring light. Rural Report is here, guiding us through the night.
Welcome everybody to another edition of the Rural Report. I am your Rural 2IC, and I want to bring up another video. Basically, these are going to be kind of the SHTF psychological aspects of survival. I know I've been kind of hitting this hard lately, but I've been kind of getting some mixed feedback and some other things, and so I kind of want to make sure that I'm hitting all the different points that we possibly can with this. So let's break into this, because when we're talking about the psychological effects of an SHTF situation, they're pretty much like a silent threat, and it's having that understanding that it's not bullets flying, it's not explosions, it's not somebody screaming and yelling, but it's more of that quiet thing that sneaks up, and they can have a pretty big impact. It's basically kind of like an invisible enemy, if you will. And when we're talking about that, we're talking about things like stress, anxiety, fear, all those different things. And really, it's kind of like the uncertainty of the whole situation. Not being prepared for that can really cripple pretty much pretty much anybody. Let's just go with that. You can be the most prepared individual there is, and still, if even if you do have a little bit of kind of the mentality of going into it, um, everything kind of goes out the window in really, really bad, chaotic situations. We never know what's going to do, like a make or break moment. And that one thing can just push us over the edge. We can prepare as much as we want for, whatever might happen, but until we experience it, you may see something, hear something, smell something, anything along those lines, that just absolutely mentally breaks you. And unfortunately, you can't prepare for a lot of that. We can try and mentally toughen up and do different things to expose ourselves to it little by little, using baby steps and whatnot. But when it all comes down, we have like a primal instinct. Okay, we have the three F's: we either fight, we flight, or we freeze. And those are hard to change. Those are basically almost built into us from birth. We can do what we can to modify it slightly. Some people might be able to overcome, but for most of us, what it is built into you is kind of what it is, and you're going to have to deal with it, because understanding what your response to situations is will kind of help you when something goes. Are you going to irrationally make a decision? Are you going to make a decision based on emotions? Because those are potentially dangerous decisions that could arise. And what our response to it is one of the things that can kind of dictate part of the outcome. And it's kind of important to have a good mindset. And we've talked about this before. Cultivating a positive and resilient mental attitude is crucial for overcoming challenges and maintaining hope. Now, hope is one of those things that it can be extremely good and extremely bad. If we are hopeful in the sense that there is actually good reason to have hope, it can really change things around. That changes the perspective on how we view something, versus false hope can be extremely dangerous. So we have to be careful with hope and how we utilize it, and how we try and use it. But in an SHTF situation, we're facing an unknown, okay? And that brings on challenges of uncertainty. You get that feeling of losing control. Most of us leave pretty stable lives, if you will. You have a job, that job produces income, those income pays different bills that you use, so that way it makes survival easier. And so you can buy food, you can pay for electricity, you can do all the different things like that. But when you have an SHTF situation, it almost brings you powerless. Yes, you can have preps, and yes, you can have different other things, but it still brings it into, we practice, and you can go to the range and practice with firearms. You can go camping every weekend. You can do all sorts of stuff. For most of us, we practice every day to live and function inside of our current environment and society. We practice every day using electricity and the internet and the telephone and text messages and apps and refrigeration and all that. When it comes down that in the blink of an eye, you can't use any of that anymore. Yes, we can have practice with it, but now all of a sudden it becomes your new lifestyle. That can bring a very big feeling of being overwhelmed. It can be even debilitating for some. That whole normal lifestyle that we have now, where you're trying to think on what to wear to the party on Friday night, or what restaurant we're going to go to after church on Sunday, or what we're going to cook for dinner on Monday night. Those things don't matter suddenly in an SHTF. Suddenly, pretty much everything in your entire lifestyle is completely thrown out the window, because you are faced with all sorts of brand new problems and challenges and all sorts of uncertainties that you now have to figure out and identify, and so that way you have the ability to figure out how to adapt and overcome and face those. But we also have to take into consideration being cognitively biased. And really, what that is the way we are built as humans, and the way that we have an understanding on how the human brain works, is that most of us try to simplify a very complex situation. And when we do that, it takes and brings in inaccuracies, uh, bad assessments, which ultimately lead to very poor decision making. That gets us to where we're trying to find the easiest way out. Remember, that's kind of what humans do. It's the path of least resistance. For the most part, humans and just about everything there is, we want the most direct, easy, fastest route. We want instant gratification. When we're faced with a problem, we want it over as quickly as possible. And when you start getting into a very complex situation, there's a lot of times that we are very fast to look at it, analyze it, and we already have a decision in seconds, and that's it. We don't stop and really look at everything from different angles. We don't seek counsel and advice from others. We don't sleep on it. And again, that leads to very poor decision making for the most part. Sometimes you'll get lucky. Sometimes you'll see something that maybe some of your experience or whatever will help you with that. But for the most part, if you face some new challenge or something like that, be careful how you go about it, because we're talking about the mentality of how we are in an SHTF situation. But let's switch gears a little bit. So if we are doing this, we can do building kind of like a resiliency for us. So we can take and go through and basically try and pull in a bunch of mental tools for survival. When we prepare and we prep, we build up our inventory. Now, whether that's building up your pantry of food and water, whether that's building up tools or medical supplies, all the physical things. Maybe it's not physical. Maybe we're building up our strength and working out and being physical. Maybe we're learning different skills and different things, so that way we have the ability to the knowledge, the working knowledge on how to do stuff. But we also have to do things mentally and build up our mental resiliency. And some of the things is like emotional regulating your emotional state. And some of the things that you can do is try and learn techniques to manage your stress, your anxiety, and probably one of the most important ones is your fear. There's different ways to do about this. Um, we all have a different level that we have when it comes to stress, when it comes to anxiety, and when it comes to fear. Some people can overcome all three very easily. Some people, all three are a big challenge. The rest of us, it's a mix, right? And it's one of those two. I don't care who you are. You have some level of all three. You just might manage it really well. But anybody that says I fear nothing is a fool. So that's straight for me. Take it how you want it on that one. But we also tried to need the ability. We need to try and get ourselves into a way that when we go into problem solving, we need to try and develop kind of like a mental flexibility so that way we can adjust to the different changing circumstances. We're not faced with the current everyday problems in an SHTF situation. They're going to probably be ever changing, especially if you're on the move. If something happens and you have to bug out, your landscape's changing. Depending on how far you're going, you can have weather changes, seasonal changes, terrain changes, the ability to identify maybe where you are, you went through, and you know how to forage, but depending on how far you've migrated, you may be in a whole different area to where you're not easily able to identify the things that you can eat and not eat, what's medicinal and what's poisonous, and things like that. So we have to be able to try and do what we can to uh, try to adapt and try to learn as much as possible, but also the ability to connect and ask others for help. But it also leads kind of into the caveat of social connection. If you watch me for any length of time, that I am a huge believer in the importance of community and human interaction because I think it's very important for emotional well being. And with us being human, don't take my word for it. What's one of the huge worst punishments, like for prisoners? Somebody did something really bad. They went and got judged. They went to prison or jail or whatever, and they're behind bars and they're out of society. If you do something in there, what do they do? How do you punish somebody already behind bars? Well, you put them in solitary. So that right there goes through and shows we need each other. We need to be social. We need that human interaction and those connections to be able to talk and look at somebody and laugh and joke and, bounce ideas off each other and different things like that. It weighs heavily to be absolutely isolated and alone. Is it doable? Yes, it is. In different other circumstances. I can only imagine the people that are sitting here trying to be lone wolf preppers, and they're going to lock themselves by themselves in a bunker all alone, deep underground, whatever. Uh, I don't know what that's going to do to your mental state, right? So, food for thought on that one. So, uh, some of the things I kind of want to touch on real quick is there are different strategies that we can do. We can take action. So you can do various things, and I'm only going to touch on a few. There's multiple things, but one of them is basic meditation. And don't think of it as, stereotypical, although that can work. But I'm just talking about trying to find techniques that'll basically focus your mind, something to reduce the stress, the anxiety, and kind of self center and bring self awareness back into focus. Uh, you're probably going to have a lot of problems come to you at once, and it's going to be very overwhelming for them to all come in all different directions, especially if a lot of people are looking at you to be leadership or to make some sort of decisions. You got multiple things going on at all times. To be able to kind of just stop, take a deep breath, close your eyes, take a minute, take something for yourself so that way you can just get it down, hang on, let's take a minute, let's work through this one at a time, and just give yourself that. Okay, that's one of the things that you can do. The next is, well, I call it war gaming, but I've had some pushback. They don't like that term. So I came up with scenario planning. Now, I will still use wargaming because that's just me, but if you do not like that term, just mute me and think that I said scenario planning. And basically, all that is it's just thinking through of potential problems and developing strategies and other things to overcome them. Now, keep in mind the word usage of potential. We're doing this now. We're pre pairing for it. We're planning for it. So to sit back and to do various things, whether you are pen and paper and everything's on in the house and your complete safety and everything's good, you can do it that way. You can simulate to where you go through and turn off the breaker in your house, and now you don't have, any sort of electricity and things like that. Now you're simulating, now you can see what you would actually do. um, or you can go even further than that. It's all based on you and your comfort level and how far you want to take it. But there again, there's a multiple different other things that we can touch on. But the last one is the one where if you go down through all that list and nothing seems to be helping, it's seeking professional help. Okay. And it's people in our community, people like Prepping with Sarge. They are a mental health professional that can help you mentally prepare for a crisis, how to get prepared before, things that you can do during, things to try to de-escalate and decompress afterwards. They have a better understanding of everything when it comes to mental health for crisis and things like that. So do not feel any sort of embarrassment or shame or worry or anything. That is what they do, and they're very good at it. Don't be afraid to ask for help. So, but let's try and end this out. So, beyond survival, these are the things that I want to kind of end on because I have a very big push for the power of human connection. If you've watched me for any length of time, that I believe wholeheartedly in community and collaboration. That is the importance of bringing people together and having them work together. Okay. There's going to be a lot of challenges, and you can either face them alone to where everything is on your shoulders, or you can build a community and have people there with you. And I'm telling you, it doesn't matter whether it's a personal SHTF that is like a job loss or anything. Maybe it's a flood or bad storm or something that's more localized. Whatever the SHTF is, it's better to have people on your side, the ability for them to help you to step in, whether it's just for comfort, whether it's just for being able to communicate and things like that, or whether it's more. Maybe they can help you financially, maybe they can help you food wise, maybe you got injured and you're going to be out for a couple of weeks. Maybe they can come over and mow your grass and do small little things like that. It really really helps. But we also need to do what we can now in the time of peace, as we go through and we build our community and our mags and things like that, is we need to build trust and leadership. um, Doing different things, whether it's prepping games or running different ops or different things like that, it not only identifies, but it also fosters the positive relationships, and it'll help you identify any sort of issues that may arise in situations. You can have people that get along just fine and they can joke and laugh and they're great friends, but when you put them under stress, uh, it's different. Okay. And we have to be able to identify as many future problems as we possibly can to try and get them fixed now, because you don't want to find out later that you can work really well with somebody when the air conditioning's going and there's plenty of food and water, but all of a sudden when you put you and somebody else in a high stress environment, you two cannot get along. Okay. It's better to find that stuff out now. And the last thing that I wanted to touch on is I wanted to circle back to hope. Hope can be a very powerful thing for both good and bad. You can have false hope, and that can lead to very dangerous things and far, far worse. But it can also lead to good things. And not only can you give yourself real hope, but you can do it for others. You can share stories of real resilience. You can share success stories. You can go through and do different things so that you can inspire and motivate others. You can have somebody that they have self doubts and that they just don't see that things are going to work out, but listen, we've got this covered. Okay, you might not be able to see the big picture now. You're looking more micro when you need to look macro, and you're not giving them false hope. You go, no, we've planned this out, we've got this covered. And you can give them actual hope and turn them around. You can motivate and inspire them, and you can really do a lot. And you can call it whatever it is. You don't have to call it hope. Uh, do whatever it is that you need to do, but we need to be able to be there. There is no tough guy. I don't cry. I don't do all the mushy feeling stuffs. There is none of that. It doesn't matter, man, woman, child, elderly, whatever. We all have different thoughts, we all have different emotions, we all have different ideologies, different methods of thinking, things that inspire us and give us hope. We're all motivated by various things. Some will go through and do things for an extra cookie, at dinner time. Some are motivated on, hey, I'll cut 2 hours off your patrol tonight and things like that. Little bonuses and different things. Some people are motivated just by saying, hey, you know what, you're doing a really good job. So we also need to try and identify those so we know how to interact with the people that we are, going to try and ride out the end of the world with, right? So but that's what I've got for you guys today. So I hope that this helps. I hope it gives you some things to think about. It's definitely stuff that I really wanted to cover and get through on all this. And maybe we'll switch gears and get out of the mental health area of SHTF, or maybe we'll stick with it and we'll invite Sarge on and we'll do some more in-depth talks. I don't know, but for now, that's what I've got. So I hope you have a great day. I hope you have an amazingly blessed day. Stay tuned because there's more information to come. And with that, please remain united because we're all prepping in this together.